It's a bit better, isn't it? Someone needs a new water bottle. Oh, hang on. That's going to be a pain in the arse to keep up. I've got myself a new camera. How's it going, guys? I hope you're all doing really well. Today I've got some very exciting news. I own a Panasonic LUMIX GH5 camera and I've had it for about just coming up to 4 years? No, 3 years. It's served me very well. I'm filming on it now. I got the camera because of the specs were 10-bit 50p vlog. I'm using the Sigma 18-35 on it now, and some of you will know I do wedding videography as a side business. I've been doing it for just over 2 years now. And my other camera, in fact, is this little, tiny little thing, which is the LUMIX GX80. I want to say it was 400 quid with a little kit lens, and it was fine for a B cam, it was all right, but I recently did a wedding and the ceremony was fine, absolutely fine. Then it got to the speeches and it went dark very quick. I had to go up to 2,500 ISO on it, and even more, I had to drop the shutter to 1/40. And I was like, oh, it's gonna look shocking. And it did. And that just made me realise, friggin' hell, George, just get a better camera. There's been 3 cameras on my mind. The Canon EOS R, the Sony a7iii, and the LUMIX S1. The Canon EOS R would have been great for vlogging, the autofocus for when I'm using the gimbal, but that's about it. It's not got 10-bit, it's not got 4K 50, and it's not got dual card slots as well, so that was a big no-no. Why did that one come up? I'm blabbing too much. Let me show you what I got, and then we'll talk about it after. It's a beast. I've got a big head, and look at that. I've played with it for a day. I've only been able to use it indoors. I've not gone out with it yet because the weather's been shite. So why did I buy this over the Sony a7 III? I know straight away that people out there are going to be saying that I've bought the wrong camera, and that's fine, you're entitled to that opinion. But you're wrong. No, joking. The things that the Sony a7 III has over the LUMIX S1, it's great, but I don't necessarily need those things. So let's go through the specs side by side, and hopefully you'll see why I bought the S1 over the a7 III. They both have a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, which is enough for me, thank you very much. So for video, the a7 III can record up to 4K 30p, and then it can do up to 120p in 1080, which is great. The downside is that although you can shoot in S-Log, already built in the camera, the data rate is so slow. I'm not sure whether it's 50 megabits per second, but it's not much to be shooting flat. Whereas even with the GH5, it shoots 150 megabits in 1080. So you've got so much more information being recorded. Over to the S1, this shoots up to 4K 60p internally. It does come with a 1.5 times crop when you shoot in 60p, so not 30 or 25, that's full frame, which to me isn't a huge issue. I'm used to having a crop with the GH5. Viewfinders, me, the fun stuff. The Sony a7 III has a 2.35 million .EVF, which is alright, it's fine, it does the job. However, the S1 has a 5.7 million OLED EVF, and let me tell you, it is something special. I actually prefer looking through that than the screen for some reason. I'm not sure why. I've never really done that, but when I was testing this out yesterday, I was looking through it and I was like, oh yeah. It looks like how you want a photo to look. And when I shoot alongside wedding photographers and they've got their Canon full frame cameras or Nikon or Sony's, I look at the screens and I just go, oh, that photo looks nice straight out of the camera. Whereas with my stuff, I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't look the same. However, looking through that, I'm now excited at what I'm going to be shooting because it already looks really nice and crisp. The only downside to this, which I'm going to have to just accept, is this shoots on SD card, but then it also shoots on XQD or CF Express when that is released. I'll need to check if we can do that yet. But I haven't got any XQD cards, and I've looked online and they are not cheap. I think a 64 gig card, you're talking roughly about 150 quid. So I just need to accept that I'm gonna have to spend a fair bit of money on XQD cards because I like to dual record my footage. I did dual record once, and from there I just can't go back because just in case anything happens to one of the cards, I know I've got that backup. I've not tried it out for video yet, not in a proper environment that I typically shoot in, but I've tried the autofocus for the photography, and it's an improvement from the GH5, let me tell you that. And besides, I don't rely on autofocus for any stuff that I shoot. I always go manual. I'm used to doing that for a living. If it ever came to me doing portrait photography or anything like that, then I might encounter a few issues where I won't get 100% success rate of the shots, and that's fine. The a7 III has got better autofocus. It's a lot bigger than the a7 III, like it's huge. I mean, have we got the dimensions on here? So the a7 III is 5 inches wide, 3.87, I'm guessing high, and 3 inches thick. This is 5.87 inches wide, so almost an inch wider, 4.3 inches high, so that's half an inch taller, and then it's 0.8 of an inch deeper. It's 3.82 inches deep. I can hold this all day easily. Whether I use the camera strap, I don't know, but even just holding it like this, even maybe with the Ninja 5 on top of it, on the hot shoe mount, I'm confident I'll be able to hold it all day. Is like my little A-cam handheld camera, but can stick it on a tripod if I need to. They both have a 5-axis sensor shift stabilizer. That's difficult to say, isn't it? They both got stabilization. They both have a 5-axis sensor shift stabilization. For this one, paired with the LUMIX L series, you can get up to 6.5 stops when you turn the optical image stabilization. Before I carry on, this lens is an absolute beauty. It's beefy. I mean, it is a beefy lens for sure, but it's sharp, it's really nice. F4 is, surprisingly enough, I was worried about going to a maximum aperture of F4 on a camera, because with my Sigma I can go up to 1.2 or 1.3 with the speed booster, whereas with this I can only go up to F4. However, this allows me to shoot at F4 in the same environments that I would at f1.8 on the GH5 with the Sigma. Let me try and use my space here. Typically in the past I shoot at a maximum of f1.8 on the GH5 with an ISO 1600. I don't go above that, because as soon as I go above 1600 I'm going to start to see noise that I don't really want to see. Because it's a full frame camera and its low light performance is a lot better, you can drop your aperture from 1.8, which I shoot on the GH5, down 3 stops to f4. With the ISO I can bring that up 3 stops, from 1600 to 32 to 64 to 12,800. Exposure wise, they should be identical and I won't encounter any issues, even though this is an f4 lens as opposed to an f1.8 lens. In that regard, I have no issue whatsoever. When it comes to Panasonic cameras, whether it's the S1 or even the GX80, the menu system on these are just so simple to use. It's great that you've got the flexibility on the a7 III, don't get me wrong. However, with the Panasonic cameras, you know where you need to go to get to the thing you need to get to. All in all, the LUMIX S1 had a lot more pros than cons as opposed to the a7 III for how I'm intending to use the camera. Some people out there might have chosen to go the Sony route and love it and stick by that. I'm purely doing the same when it comes to Panasonic. At the time of getting the camera, they were both the same price, and that's why I found myself in the dilemma of which one do I get. They both came with a 24-105 f4. The cameras both had money knocked off. This I got from Wex for, I think it was 2.4k, and it should have been 3,000 as a bundle. I've saved £600 straight away, and with that I'm going to get some XQD cards, but also one of the Sigma primes, just so I know I've got a really nice shallow looking lens for when I need it, or if I really do need that extra bit of light. Something like a 35mm 1.4 or a 50mm 1.4, and I feel like I'll be set with just those 2 lenses. Having a lens and a camera that's pretty much an all-in-one solution is just... This also has an APS-C mode as well, so if you don't want to shoot full frame, you can turn on the APS-C mode and then it will give you a 1.5 times crop, which is great, because then essentially this 24-105 results in something like a 24-150mm. So if you can't get as close as you want in the ceremony because you'll be on tripods further back or something like that, you can just stick the APS-C mode on, zoom in, and you've got 150mm equivalent rather than 105, which is, it's just nice to know that you've got that option if you need it. And to be fair, if you shoot in APS-C mode all day, as soon as you hop into 4K 50 mode, there's no difference. So if you get used to that field of view, you're fine, you're sorted. I feel like I've done a heck of a lot of waffling on there and my mouth's gone dry again. But hopefully for anyone who's torn between buying the LUMIX S1 or the Sony a7 III, all I'd say is have a really good think about what you personally need in a camera. You can look online, you can see what other people think of it, but remember they might have different priorities and different needs for that camera. Some people might do wildlife photography and need that quick autofocus to get those sharp images straight away. However, for me as a videographer, And even as an amateur photographer, I don't need that blistering fast autofocus. So to me, that's not a huge issue. And for a video perspective, for something that's got all the video specs in a hybrid full frame camera, it's a no-brainer for me. So I'm hoping you've learned something from that. I really do. I'm hoping to do more of these in the future. I'm not going to buy a camera every week because otherwise my credit card bill will be ridiculous. However, over time, I will review the kit that I've got, the software that I use and things like that, and hopefully identify what works best for me as an individual, but then hopefully and potentially for you guys too. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please subscribe. This channel, I think it's already got about 30 subscribers, so I'm really chuffed with that. To say that I've only shared it with friends and family, I'm really pleased that people who I don't know are even subscribing to the channel. So it's really promising that people want to learn about stuff that I want to teach. So subscribe if you haven't, like the video, share it, do whatever you want to do, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll tell you what, I'll go traditional with the old lens cap. Oh, nah.